So Tuesday was World Mental Health Day. Today is Friday, and I've been wanting to create my own video for a couple of months now, where I'm going to sit here as I am and talk about my experiences of anxiety, which is something I live with on a daily basis, and it's been a part of my life for at least 15 years. I felt inspired to do this video a couple of months ago because, well, after watching a video by Jane from Jane's Patisserie, where she talked about her experiences of anxiety in a very open and honest way, and it's quite a long video as well. I'm not reading the script here, just I don't do that very well. Jane's also a brilliant and inspiring baker, and so I'll include a link to her video and the channel in the description below. Reading it now, here we go. My own experiences and feelings relating to anxiety are mostly related to social situations and interactions with other people. This may be more commonly known as social anxiety. For example, oh, there we go. I'm reading directly from a script today, which I don't normally do in front of the camera. I'm quite terrified by the thought of doing this, off the cuff as it was, and fear I'd be speechless otherwise, if not for the words in front of me now. I wrote this at the weekend. My plan was to do this on Tuesday evening, but because of anxiety, it's now Friday and I'm just doing it. I've had quite a difficult week emotionally, the last sort of 10 days. I won't go into it all now, but it all revolves around anxiety. I'm also going to try and record this video without cutting anything out during the editing process, which is scary in itself. This may also allow you to see what I'm actually like, or you may see no difference at all. I do talk quite fast, as you noticed. Yeah, normally when I'm doing narration, I'll re-record something so it sounds a bit clearer, maybe a bit slower. But at the same time, doing that is quite frustrating for me, and I end up getting quite frustrated, wound up, and making a right state of myself. Onwards. So, I've always been a relatively quiet, shy, and sometimes withdrawn person. I turn away from large groups of people and social gatherings, feeling much more comfortable and relaxed within the company of a few others. I often worry about what to say to someone and what their response and reaction may be if I do say certain things. Equally, I can worry about what to say and find I have nothing to bring to a conversation. On its own, conversation is something I struggle with, and I find myself quite isolated from people. I find myself quite isolated from people a lot of the time. I know there will be one or two people watching this video who I know personally, and this may still be quite shocking to them. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. Yeah. But I don't always need people around me to feel anxious. Quite often, I can be sat at home, as I am this evening, and feeling unable or unwilling to leave the house. I have a high sensitivity to noise, and not just loud bangs. It can be the dogs barking over there, footsteps overhead. I live on the ground floor flat. It could be cars parking outside. It could be anything really. I could be out walking somewhere and I hear a car go past in the distance, or a distant voice from a person I can't see. There are a lot of possibilities. Where was I? So, and a fear of being seen. Some of this may point to other issues, perhaps a form of autism and or symptoms of low self-esteem. Autism is something I've been curious about for a number of years. I've not really pursued it. I don't think I'm autistic as such, but I'm quite certain I could register somewhere on the autism spectrum, maybe Asperger's or somewhere near there. I've got one friend who supports this, who might be watching this. It's up to me really to try and follow it through and get tested, but I'm not very confident that my GP would say, yeah, sure, I'm going to test you. think it'd be hard for me to prove to him that I'm worthy of being tested, if that makes sense. Okay, next paragraph. And some water. Okay. I've been living in a ground floor flat for almost 4 years now. 4 years next month. There's no insulation in the ceiling, and I can hear pretty much everything that goes on in the flat above me. Step by step, cough by cough, I find it incredibly difficult to relax where I'm so aware and alert to another person's presence. I often have to plug music into my ears as a distraction. Outside of my kitchen window, which you can't see actually, is a frequently used car park with other properties across the way. Over to my right and even behind my current home, there's a lot going on in this small area, and I'm overly aware of it all, as I kind of said a few minutes ago. I am looking around in search of a new property I could live in. I'm only renting, so it's not too hard to move really. But rent prices appear to be rising, and that in itself is something I can feel quite anxious about, because I don't save a lot of money now, I don't make a lot of money in my job, and living on your own is always expensive. Next paragraph. I cannot imagine living or sharing a personal space with another human being right now. It's been a few years already, and I just don't believe I could do that permanently. I just don't believe I could do it permanently. Now, avoidance, big word there, has been a big symptom of anxiety issues. No, I've written by, it should be my. It has been a big symptom of my anxiety issues, and this first started during my A-levels in 2002. I would skip the occasional lesson, soon developing into the odd day, and then before the school or my parents realised, I'd not been in attendance for several weeks. Why I was doing this, I didn't even understand at the time. I just wanted to avoid the situation and escape from it anytime I was there. I rarely missed one day in my 6 years at college. I studied, in case you don't know, I did carpentry and joinery for 3 years, and then cabinet making for another 3 years in Bristol. Good courses. I rarely missed one day in 6 years, but I've been known not to phone in sick throughout my working life. I have the occasional day off, tell no one. I go to the next day, pretend I was sick with some sort of cold or something. I don't believe that any employer would wholeheartedly understand if I was to admit that I just couldn't face it, for whatever reason. Of course, the reason being anxiety. I've written something here that I'm actually going to change in a moment, bear with me. Even today, 6 months into a similar job with a new employer, I entertain this frequent thoughts of not going in as I rush to work each morning, often arriving at least 5 minutes late. That's all still true. I bury myself into as many tasks as I can hold on to. When the work has run out, as happens frequently, I suffer psychologically with the whirlwind inside my head. That's also true. What I want to change though is, I said something there about not believing any employer could be sort of considerate. I was supposed to be in work. I was off Monday and Tuesday this week, holiday. Didn't do a lot because of anxiety. I spent most of the time in bed. I was supposed to be back in Wednesday, but I didn't go. I went back to bed, turned my phone off, hid away until lunchtime. I've not done that for a good couple of years actually. But I emailed my boss after lunch, sort of late afternoon, to explain and apologise, and he was okay about it. Next day I went in yesterday, which was Thursday, had a quick chat about it, and I've since seen a counsellor for the first time in a couple of years, and we're making I have an appointment to see her again properly in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to start counselling again soon, which is kind of scary, but kind of good because I can sort of focus on that and get into it and give it a go. Yeah, anyway. I don't think my job is something I stay in long term, but I can kind of trust my boss a bit more. That's a good thing. I think where I was previously, I didn't have that, see. Anyway, last paragraph for this little bit. It's possible I don't really want to be doing this kind of work. I'm not a huge fan of routine or anything even slightly monotonous, but I feel I lack the direction in life to pursue, something else instead of that. And in turn, this is something I fear. I fear I'll never find my way in life and look back one day to regret and think of all the things I should have done or could have done this, could have done that. I also believe that my lack of ambition makes me a less attractive person all round. Now we're going to talk about walking and anxiety, which is more relevant to this channel, I guess. It's been well documented that walking and physical activity in general are great for combating anxiety and other psychological issues in general. I said in general twice there. I'm still talking too fast. I apologise. Yes, my writing's terrible today. Yes, this is one of the reasons I walk so much, and perhaps why I'm posting this video on this particular channel, where my other one has a following of around 7,000 subscribers. I'm not looking for the clicks or hits. I would just like to share my own experiences briefly in the hope that someone else will find the inspiration to start talking, just as I have done. When I'm out walking on my own, I can face anxiety at almost any turn. It could be having to encounter another person, or a self-doubt while following a map across a previously unexplored footpath with poor signage and way marking. I get that quite a lot. Sometimes I make bad decisions. I get lost and have, on the odd occasion, wandered onto private land, nearly getting shot once in Wales. Walking with other people can still be agonising for me. Again, there are other fears over what to say and when to say it. I often feel like I kill conversations with people I've just met no sooner than they have begun. I often walk to feel free and to escape everyday life. In a large group of more than, say, 25 people, I could feel quite constricted. Bit more on walking. I'm a member of Brunel Walking Group in Bristol. I'm also a walk leader with the group, which is, yes, it's pretty amazing considering I suffer with anxiety. Yeah, quite well known. I can do quite a lot despite being a very anxious person, I guess. But somehow I managed, there we go, I'm doing it again, talk ahead of the paragraph. Somehow I managed to lead several group walks each year, often walking at a distance and pace ahead of the rest, but most people will return for another walk with me. Hope that makes sense, that was quite fast. Earlier this year I went on my first ever camping trip with a group. There was around 20 of us, and on the first morning after arriving I hid away in my tent. Another page done, 3 to go, until everyone else had gone because I couldn't face anything, or as it felt to me, everything was happening at once. This was in Snowdonia. Great weekend, but that first morning I just couldn't physically get out of my tent, or mentally, to be honest. Something I found that helped them was to kind of get my book out and write down some of my thoughts in a kind of journaling way. That did help, and also trying to be kinder to myself, trying to be less critical, if not completely kind. And continuing on, a couple of months after that, I went on my second camping trip with the group and slightly less people. I didn't make it to the first night of camping, but nobody actually knows. I mean this, nobody knows this, and I feel quite bad about not admitting this to anyone, because I've got some really good friends in the group and outside who know about my anxiety. Didn't make it to the first night. What actually happened is I came very close to being there, but couldn't face going into the campsite because of how ridiculously late I'd arrived. I got a bit lost on the way down, basically. I got there, the gates were shut as far as I could see. It looked like it was locked up. There was no easy place to park and look around. I think in hindsight I should have just texted someone and said, can I get it in, or should I come back tomorrow? I shouldn't have tried to do it all on my own. I ended up driving home 90 minutes that night. That was after spending a good, I don't know, I didn't leave straight away. I went for a drive up to a local hill and parked there for a bit, went for a walk around. I spent a lot of time just thinking, which can be a dangerous thing. Yeah, I feel awkward admitting this because there are maybe 3 people I know who I would normally trust with my anxiety-related secrets, and I feel ashamed to say that I had partly lied to all of them. Next month, in November, there's a group trip to Pembrokeshire where the plan is to stay in a youth hostel. I've not stayed in a youth hostel before, but there is likely to be at least 50 people in our party and maybe more. As much as I would love to do the walking, I cannot even pretend to face going. I survive in life by finding my own space and solitude away from other people at regular intervals. I cannot think of any place to hide under one roof, and in a chilly November, then there's the thought of sleeping. I struggle to relax in a room with one person, let alone dozens of others. Plus, I'm a very light sleeper. I am awakened by the slightest of sounds and always early. I think that's it for the walking part. Something else coming up here. Oh yeah, it's more about me, I think. So I realise that many of my own thoughts and beliefs can be challenged. I've tried things like CBC in the past, which have helped, but I lack the kind of discipline and routine at home to keep it going, basically. I'm saying it again, I think. I received several forms of counselling and therapy in recent years, and I haven't stopped looking to continue that. As I told you already, I am doing that very soon. But I seem to lack something that would keep the momentum going. I do it for a bit, then lose my rhythm, never to pick it up again, because I don't like routine. Which is a bit contrary to kind of autism, I guess, in a stereotype at least. This video has been so incredibly hard to create, and not only for everything I have just read out, but for all the issues I have surrounding my own voice. I don't believe that I can speak clearly and consistently for a prolonged period of time. If there's any kind of sound in the background, whether it's a passing car or a clatter of knife and a fork, I feel as though it has already been won, and quite often I won't say a word until the sound has passed. I also think I perceive noises much louder than most people. Like if I'm lying in bed in the morning, I can hear something over there. It's pretty quiet. Maybe a bird chirping over there. To me, it's like it's right here, and it's hard to explain. But I've only sort of became aware of that. Maybe it was last year I was talking to someone. She didn't quite get what I meant about feeling disorientated by sounds. It's kind of linked to that. It's not her fault she didn't understand. It's just a bit different, I guess. For those of you who may already know me, I hope you've learned a little more. If you're someone who suffers with anxiety or any... What? If you're someone who suffers with anxiety of mental health issues, what does that mean? If you're someone who suffers with anxiety or any form of mental health issue yourself, then I hope you'll find your voice and make the time to share in your own way. So if you've got a YouTube channel yourself, please consider making your own video about anxiety or depression, whatever it may be. Just get your voice out there. And I know it is terrifying, it really is. It's taken me like 5 days to do this, but here I am. If I can do it, then bloody hell, so can you. Maybe you're a blogger, or you want to do a short Facebook video or a Twitter video or something. Just give it a go, seriously. Because I think this video proves that there is always someone who will listen. Thank you for watching. And that's it, 5 pages done. That's me, I did it somehow. No idea how long that took. It read like 5 minutes when I typed it, but it's probably 20, isn't it? Anyway, yeah. Thanks for watching. I hope this kind of makes some sense. I apologise that I'm still talking really fast, but hopefully somebody will see this and feel encouraged to do their own video and share their own experiences and feelings, because I believe that the more we talk about this sort of thing, the more open we are to talking about it, then the easier it will be to kind of accept the way we are, really.